This is really something that touches the minds of a lot of people. From your observation, we know that a lot of people are seeing what's going on. Now, social media and the level of use with increasing exposure to technology has its advantages and disadvantages on the other hand. Now, some of the disadvantages, which is our focus of discussion now this morning, includes cyberbullying, cyber fraud, and online theft. With about 142 million active internet subscribers in 2021, recorded by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, some experts have predicted an increase of internet crimes in the course of the year. And rather than resolving their issues privately, some people have opted to sharing their problems with the general court of social media, exposing people to ridicule and abuse online. Now, the big question is, how do we deal with what some people call digital violence or online violence, as the case may be? So joining me in the studio to make sense of this is counselor and cognitive behavioral therapist Wemimo Adebi. Wemimo, it's good to have you join me this morning.
It's good to be
good
here.
To see you.
Yes,
great.
Here.
Now, I want let's try to understand. You know, when it comes to social media,
yeah,
a lot of people have one-way knowledge of some of the things. Others have a broader knowledge and all of that. So sometimes when you're talking about phenomena, people read it from different perspectives. So when we talk about online violence or digital violence as it is, let us know what they are and what they are not.
Yeah, you're right.
Good.
Okay, basically, online digital, there is a link, okay? And it's an activity perpetrated by individuals, not by a machine.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all sort of activities that relates, that has to do with using your gadget, okay, digitally, or either, you know, when you're physically behind your machines, basically to electronically destroy. Basically. So what you are about to destroy could be an individual, could be an institution, but its main aim is to destroy something.
Wow. So this aim of destruction or destroying, as the case may be, would it be out of mischief or out of reaction, or what can be the causes behind people wanting to destroy?
To talk of mischief, we have a lot of people who through mischief make money.
Okay.
So it could be mischief. And out of the other angle also is tied, there's a link. So it now depends on the individual to ask what is the motive behind you having to go on the pathway of electronic destruction, basically. So it could be mischievous, because we have a lot of people who post, you know, seemingly senseless things online and they make money from it. So they thrive on using other people's information. They know other organizations' information, they know, to make money, basically. All
right, now let's narrow it down to the issue of violence.
Yeah.
The point there is, we have seen online where people come after other people.
Yes.
You know, using words, using pictures, using videos, using all sorts of adjectives to qualify insults, you know, and all of that. Now, when people, sometimes we've even seen a husband and a wife, for instance, to have, you know, their personal issues, go online, and then you hear all the basbos and all of that, like they used to say on the streets.
Yes.
Now, what could lead into people doing that? What satisfaction do they derive, or do people derive from that?
You know, when I was laying the foundation, I told you that it's actually using electronic means to destroy.
Okay.
And usually people who do this, they are either on the pathway to revenge, or to make a point. And it stems from bullying. Now, I can't be an individual who tends towards the destructive path electronically if I have not been a bully myself, to do it with someone whom I could see face to face. So in the area of relationships, either husband and wives, or you know, relational issues, you know, bringing it online and everything, it must have been that either party or the one who has the upper hand has been a bully before taking it to the larger community. Now, what people need to know is that the digital world, okay, is the largest community ever. So it's about, I have an edge above you, and I'm going to take it further, and I'm going to bring you down. And they go to the length of gathering information, and then even the ones you never thought, you know, has always been in their possession.
Is this done out of hate, resentment?
It's done out of revenge. Okay, out of the tendency to want to prove a point. Now, let me use the word. It's usually done by abusers. People who seem to have control. They want to control, they want to dominate, they want to prove a point. They want to make you suffer for something you know, seemingly that you may have done against them. Or they want to bring you down. So it's about somebody who has a upper hand electronically, and then he or she uses it faster to take it into the digital world.
But when they do all of these things, does it correct what they want, what they are complaining about? For instance, like we were citing instances where a guy and a wife, you know, had an issue, and then maybe they're even talking about divorce, and we've even heard of people, you know, divorcing and stuff like that online, you know. So when they come online to do all of the basketballs, does it settle or resolve that thing that made them come online in the first place?
We've seen a percentage of people, depending on the content and the motive.
Okay.
If the motive is not to destroy, to prove a point, to dominate, to show you Pepe, as it were, then there could be some sort of people behind who reach out and say, we could, you know, settle this amicably without having to bring it into the digital environment. But a whole lot of the time, times is not basically to rectify anything. It's to destroy completely, okay, and then find a way to just tarnish the image of the individual. And I need to let people know that it's an intentional act. It's not an error.
Mistake.
No.
It's not an accident.
You don't play into the gallery of I didn't mean to. No.
Okay.
It's mostly intentional. And the aim is to hurt, to insult, to shame. All right. And at times, most of this information are usually true about the other person. So what we say is, whether at vulnerable times or conscious times, nobody has the right to digitally expose information about the other person. Okay, you are just being, how do I put it? I don't know what word to use, but it is not right. Okay, it's an act of an abuse.
What impacts do these have on the other person who is being, you know, violated, or who is being, you know, bullied, or who is being attacked, or who is being harassed? Now, take us through that.
The impact is usually enormous, and a lot of people rarely recover from it. Okay, you talk about depression today, you talk about fear, you talk about anxiety, because you do not know what other information this person has again. You do not know how far this individual may have gone. And then you talk about blaming yourself. Okay, a lot of people live in self-guilt. Maybe if I had not been this vulnerable, he or she may not have had access to me to the extent. And there are times it may not be a direct access. It might be through a third party. So you are not sure whether you're safe, you know, you're not sure of the next move and all of that. So you talk about mental health. You know, the issue of online bashing and everything affects the mental health of the individual in it, because we need to come to terms with it. Our lives, 85% of our lives, okay, have gone digital. Okay, a lot of people live their lives online. And the truth is, 85% carry this, you know, are on the internet, and they enjoy themselves with other people's downfall. Now, you are not sure who's next beside you, who has an information about you. So it affects enormously, and then it's you know, it could lead to suicide. When an individual feels, well, I have nothing else here to live for, my entire life is, you know, and let me just quit.
Right.
So a lot of people
isn't all of these things really just perception and just some kind of imagination somewhere, because when somebody comes after you online, of course it's not physical, it's just what the other person said and all of that. Can somebody ignore and just move on and life feels...
It would have been so good if it's possible that way. Okay, you can't move on and act like it never happened, especially when this person has your image, has your voice note, has your picture, has your, the video to show that this is you. It will take somebody who has a strong base, a strong support to be able to pull through such a thing. So those who perpetrate this act, they know the enormity, the strength of this, the power of the social media in pulling others down. And that's what we say that know your right. Actually, it's against the law. Okay, there is a law against it. I don't know how to put that.
I was going to come to the issue of the law.
So if anyone find himself in it and all of that, you don't negotiate with the person behind the behind the scene. You don't, because whether you negotiate or not, the person's intention is still going to be carried out. So
and in fact, the issue there is you're trying to send I'm just trying to picture a scenario where you're sending a message, direct messages to the person as in why you're doing this, and you're trying to negotiate,
and the person
and
is still copying
it. He copies it, screen grabs it, and you see what I'm saying?
So the best thing you do at that point is, he that is down it fears no fall. You've fallen, you've entered the net, but there is a way out of it. Don't negotiate, don't defend it, don't explain it. And one other thing I want us to know about the social media, the digital world, is the space doesn't last forever. Another story will come, and your own issue will fade off. So if you could hold back for a while, you will discover that it's just a matter of time. You're not the only one in that pool. Other things will show up. However, you can't pull through on your own.
All right. We'll get to that remedy part of things where, okay, what can we do when you find yourself in that? But let's talk about, I was going to ask you when you talked about the issue of rights and again, being against the law. Can someone sue in the situation where you're being bullied or you're being harassed or you're being violated online? Can you sue such a person?
Yeah. Right. I believe you can, because it's it's a violation of your privacy, of your life, regardless of the content. That's the truth. Because around here, we seem to accept and allow people take advantage of us without having to fight for our rights. The human rights are there, and the human rights, legal practitioners are there. There is a way to go about it, really, because a lot of people, even the perpetrator, lacks the knowledge of what the law says. Okay, my privacy is my privacy. It doesn't matter what I chose to do with it. Okay, so if it falls into your hands, you don't have the right to make it known in the bid to hurt, to to disgrace, as it were, to prove a point. No, if I know what to do, I have a right. I could make a noise about it.
We've had a lot of people who have been into different kind of scandals, online, and then people are feeding and feasting on the info. Have you heard? Radio stations are moving on with it. Some TV stations that are entertainment really are moving with it, and things like that. And finding oneself in a situation where they're discussing you on this radio, they're discussing you on this TV, discussing you on this TV, discussing you everywhere, and 90% of it is negative. One can only imagine. If you're walking on the street, maybe someone can throw a stone at you and stuff. But in a situation like that, where people make mistakes, people find themselves in any kind of thing on a daily basis, how can one go about it?
The first thing I say is accept the reality. You are become the talk in town
at that moment.
Then switch off.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have control.
Good.
Yeah, switch off.
That's
you don't need to get involved and hear everything or see everything said about you. with time it will fade off. One thing is, nothing lasts forever. Another history will be made few minutes after your own. So you don't owe anyone any explanation.
We've seen situations where some explanation for some people is that I need to know what people are saying about me. You know, and then there are instances where, okay, like you said, just shut down, and then you just shut down. But hire someone who should listen to and sieve through all of those things, and then know what to tell you, and then know how to tell you, so that you don't feel. Talk to us about.
The truth is, you don't need to hear and know about everything.
All right.
There's a saying that says too much knowledge, you know, weakens the heart. These days, you need to get yourself involved in things that fortify you. If you do the right thing, you will be talked about. If you do the wrong thing, you will be talked about. So the onus still points down at you. What exactly do you want to make of your situation? All right. So I say to people, you don't have to have answer for everything to everyone. In the bit of you trying to explain and to defend yourself, you're going to sell yourself out, because that is what the situation is about. So you've been sold out. You can always buy back yourself by going mute. Simple.
Oh, okay. So it is not every instance that one is advised to respond to
it is
all of
not
those.
Although there are some situations that might need clarification, but you don't keep clarifying, keep explaining, keep defending, look for counter proofs, look for counter explanation. You don't need that, because if you do that, you're already engaging the perpetrator, and you're fueling his energy. He's going to prove you wrong, because that's what the person wants to do. But the truth is, why would you bring down yourself because of one person? One of the things I believe is there are over 6 billion human beings on earth, and if one person is on the journey of destroying me, then I think I have over 5 point whatever billion people ready to lift me. Why can't I look in the other direction and frustrate the person's activity?
All right. Now, for someone who has gone through an experience like that and is going through all of these, because you mentioned depression, you mentioned suicidal tendencies and all of that, what are the options open to such a person?
The major thing is, as an individual, before you find yourself in this situation, because the truth is it could happen to anybody, because we all have our private lives and you have the main life, it could fall into the hand of anybody. So I say that don't ever stay or live your life alone. You must have a backup for a support system in case. All right, you must belong to a unit that could, I don't know how that works for an individual. I must have my support group. You must have your support group. Now, when things like that happen, the first thing is you don't go on bashing yourself. You don't need that. It has happened. It has happened. You retire to yourself. Where did I go wrong? To prevent it from happening again. Because we have people who have, they keep reappearing on, all forms of, how do I call it? Scandals repeatedly. It's not healthy for the sanity of a human being and the stigma that comes with it. And it's a form of social disability, because it's going to disable you sort of in some social benefits and all of that. So you look back at how to prevent it from happening again. Then the next thing is you reshuffle your cabinet and pull up yourself together and move on. Anything happens, things happen. You never can tell what will happen, but you prepare yourself. What if? Then I like to say that for people who are always on the screen, what type of screen? Any kind of screen. You have to also be very careful.
Whether from the front door or the back door. You want the limelight
your
every
life
time.
Well, define the life you want out there and the life you want with yourself, and define who your circle are.
Yeah, but isn't that part of the challenge? Because I like you to clarify this for us, because you talked about the issue of the private life and then the public life out there. The point there is, of course, everybody has some level of privacy where this is you in your home or family, whatever thing you're doing and all of that. But should there be too much of a difference between you in the private, apart from really, really private issues, and then you in public?
There shouldn't be too much of a difference, but I I'm trying to say that you have right to be yourself.
Right.
You have right to interact with your true essence. A lot of people carry heavy burdens, but they have a facade because of a screen life. Okay, if you want to cry, cry. But you can't do that in the open. You're doing that. A lot of people are online. You're crying. You're videoing yourself. You're eating. You're videoing yourself. Okay, you have something not going well with you.
I have seen someone who is in church praying, and he's recording, and he's praying, and he'll be like,
you actually don't need that. So it's a digital world. It has its advantages and it has its disadvantages.
Okay.
And anything that we call a world has a rule, has its laws. You need to understand it before you choose to exist in that world. A lot of people just swallow, consume anything.
Yeah.
But you are burning yourself, because when the chips are down, you are going to be exposed big time.
Huh. Wow. Now, the point there is the way one looks at this thing. People always see social media. It makes you popular. It makes you a celebrity. It puts you out there, and then you put up a video, and then in 1 hour there are almost
it's trending.
5,000 people liking it, and people like that limelight. And then it is a thin line where it can turn the other way.
Yeah.
Almost immediately.
And what people need to know is that if you trended with 5 million, you're going to trend when the chips are down in a double portion. Double
when it's negative.
Yeah, so you need to know what you're in for.
Though?
Well, in psychology, the human brain naturally it gravitates towards the negative.
Whoa.
So whatever talks about negativity, whatever talks about the downfall, someone is crying, hurting, weeping, trends. And people would love to share it. And I like to say, as a child advocate, it's also a form of digital violence against children. When you propagate their images and you show they are still the victim of abuse, and then you show everything about them, it's a form of abuse.
Yeah.
And then you cover the face of the perpetrator. No, you don't do that.
Yeah.
I think it should be the other way around.
Around.
Even the perpetrator, to some extent, under the law, still has the right to privacy.
Of course.
But let's just be guided.
Until a court says
exactly, you're guilty. So we need to be guided
innocent
when it comes to handling the social space.
All right. Thank you so much, Wemimo Adebi, for all that enlightenment around that. We have learned one or two, and some of the tips you've given. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.